Hi guys, this is Sarfraz from Aristotle Prep, and we are looking at question 105 from the OG 13 Critical Reasoning chapter. The stimulus says the cost of producing radios in country Q is 10% less than the cost of producing radios in country Y. Okay. Even after transportation fees and tariff charges are added, it is still cheaper for a company to import radios from country Q to country Y than to produce radios in country Y. It's easier if you just jot down this information rather than read it mentally. So we will try to do that. I'll do it on the screen. I hope you'll be able to see it. So it says the cost of producing radios in Q is 10% less than the cost of producing radios in Y. So let's write it like this. So let's say in Y the cost of producing a radio is $100. So in Q the cost is obviously 10% less, so $90. And then the argument goes on to say that even after you add the cost of tariff and fees to whatever it costs in Q, so 90 plus fees plus tariff, it is still cheaper to manufacture in Q than in Y. So from there, we can easily conclude that 90 plus fees plus tariff is less than 100, right? If you solve that inequality one more step, you will see that fees plus tariff has to be less than $10, right? For that inequality to be true, fees plus tariff has to be less than $10, and $10 is 10% of 100. With that thought process, we will now go to the options given to us. A says labor costs in country Q are 10% below those in country Y. We cannot make any specific inference about labor costs. We have no idea. It's an inference question, by the way. Which of the following is best supported from the argument? So inference. So A can't be inferred. B says importing radios from Q to Y will eliminate 10% of the jobs. We have no idea. So can't be inferred. C says the tariff on a radio imported from Q to Y is less than 10% of the cost of manufacturing the radio in Y. That is absolutely true. You remember what we said? Fees plus tariff is less than 10% of the cost of manufacturing the radio in Y. We arrived at that through the inequality on your screen. Fees plus tariff is less than $10. $10 is 10% of manufacturing the radio in country Y. So if fees plus tariff together is less than 10%, then tariff by itself, which is what C says, has to be less than 10%. So C is absolutely true. It can easily be inferred from the stimulus. Should be the answer. We will go through the other two options also. D says the fee for transporting a radio from Q to Y is more than 10% of the cost of manufacturing the radio in country Q. That is absolutely wrong. The argument clearly says it is less than 10%. If it is more than 10%, it is cheaper to manufacture in Y than to import from Q. But the argument or the stimulus says the opposite. E says it takes 10% less time to manufacture a radio in Q than in Y. Again, we can't make any inference about the time. So C is the only option that can be inferred. As I said, if you write this in terms of numbers, as I did, it becomes much easier to handle this particular argument. On a difficulty scale of 1 to 5, I would give this one a 4. Have a nice day.